Good morning, students. This is my lecture number 1 for poem number 6, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, composed by Adrian Rich. This lecture is for class 12 students, subject English. As per CBSE curriculum, this is the last poem for class 12 students taken from your main course book, Flamingo. And in this lecture of this poem, I will tell you about the poet Adrian Rich. I will give you the complete introduction of this poem and I'll let you know with what theme did the poet write this poem. And then I'll be explaining the complete poem to you, which is given in 3 extracts in your book, line by line, with all its difficult words and their meanings. And I am sure the children who are attentive enough while attending this lecture would be capable enough to understand it, and you'll be able to summarize it in your own words as well. So let's proceed with the introduction of the poet. The poet Adrian Rich was born in Baltimore, and she lived from May 16, 1929 to March 27, 2012. She was an American poet, essayist, and feminist. She was known as one of the most widely read and influential poets of the second half of the 20th century. She was credited with bringing the oppression of women to the forefront of poetic discourse. She published 25 volumes of poetry, 3 collections of essays, and more than half a dozen other writings. Now I am going to introduce the poem to you. The poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers addresses the constraints of married life that a woman experiences. The protagonist of the poem, Aunt Jennifer, actually represents women all over the world, particularly the women in America during the 1950s. She represents the kind of women who were caught under the oppressive hand of a patriarchal society. Patriarchal is an adjective which is used about a society or a system that is controlled by men rather than women. So, the poet Adrian Rich, through the simple lines of the poem, delineates a woman's struggle with expression and rebellion. This poem is given in 3 stanzas, and in the very first stanza of the poem, the poet introduces us to Aunt Jennifer's dreams as a woman, and in second stanza we are introduced to the reality of her world, and in the third it is a narrative of the future. The poem revolves around the desires and the depressingly harsh realities of Aunt Jennifer's existence, using sharp contrast between the tigers and herself. The tigers appear to be in sharp contrast of her personality. The tiger's actions are smooth, uninhibited, and robust. Aunt Jennifer, on the other hand, has great trouble even to embroider because her movements are so weak due to the fear of her husband, to whom she married, and she found this marriage band or the bond is very heavy to carry any further. In the beginning of the poem, the poet writes that Aunt Jennifer's tigers means the tigers that she is embroidering onto a panel, onto a screen. They are moving with high steps, and it appears as if they are moving with high steps that they are going across a screen. And those tigers which she is embroidering are bright topaz denizens of a world of green. World of green means forest. Denizens means inhabitants. And then Adrian Rich tells that they are bright like topaz. Topaz is a precious gem that is yellow in color. So to describe the bright color of the tigers, this word topaz is written by the poet. She says that Aunt Jennifer is creating the tigers onto a screen, onto a piece of cloth, and it appears that those tigers are very bright yellow in color and they are the inhabitants of jungle. And she says they means the tigers. Do not fear the men beneath the tree. Here it is given beneath the tree that symbolizes the ordinary people. The poet says the tigers which he is creating to represent the fear among the humans, she says that these tigers have no fear of ordinary people. They pace. Pace means move. In sleek. Sleek means delicate. Chivalric certainty. Chivalric means polite. Certainty means helpfulness. So the poet Adrian Rich says that the tigers created by Aunt Jennifer are so real in their look as it appears that they are moving across the screen where they are embroidered, and they are bright in color, that is their yellow color, and they appear as if they are the real inhabitants of the world of green, that is jungle. And they are bold enough, they do not have any fear of the men beneath the tree, means they do not have any fear of ordinary people, and they are moving with delicate, polite and helpful steps into the jungle. Right? So this is the complete explanation of first 4 lines of the poem, in which the poet has added the words like denizens and chivalric to understand the tiger's attitude. They live far away from human settlements. They are called chivalric. This indicates the majestic and honorable position that they occupy in the world of animals. So, the use of the words denizens and chivalric add to the understanding of the tiger's attitude, that they are in full attitude because they are considered the king of the jungle. Children, now I will tell you the poetic devices that the poet Adrian Rich has used in these 4 lines. If you see, there is visual imagery when the poet writes bright topaz denizens, and there is world of green. In these 2 phrases, there is visual imagery used by the poet as a poetic device. And then they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. In this line, she has given the tigers a chivalric characteristic through personification. As much as fairy tales and stories disagree, tigers in real life are not noble, they are wild animals. So here it is personification. And the tigers in the panel that she has made will go on prancing. So the poet has written that the pace in sleek chivalric certainty, there is personification given by the poet. Now we are proceeding to the second stanza of the poem, that begins with the line, Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So you would have noticed the rhyming scheme that I have already told you, A, B, B. So it is wool, pull, band, hand. In this second stanza, the reality of Aunt Jennifer is revealed as she is feeble, weak, and enslaved. And that is very much the opposite of the tigers that she was knitting, that she was embroidering. So, her physical and mental trauma is depicted in the line that she finds even the ivory needle hard to pull. Even though she finds that the ivory needle is very hard for her to pull because she is embroidering the tigers onto a panel, and she is that much terrified due to the oppression of her husband that her fingers are fluttering through her wool, because for embroidering the tigers she has one panel in her hand, and with the help of wool and ivory needle she is embroidering those tigers onto that panel. So the poet, in order to present the weakness and the feebleness of Aunt Jennifer, writes that she is that much terrified, she finds even the ivory needle that she is using to embroider the tigers very hard to pull because her fingers are fluttering badly. Fluttering means they are trembling. So, and she writes, the massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon her hand. Even though a wedding ring does not weigh much, you know this very well. So the massive weight of uncle's wedding band, she finds it sitting very heavily upon her hand. That signifies the amount of dominance her husband has exercised over her. This also means that her inner free spirit has been jailed by the patriarchal husband. So here it is, the poet writes that she is that much terrified that her fingers are fluttering and she finds even the needle very hard to pull from the wool. And then she finds that the massive weight of uncle's wedding band, the bonding of the uncle's relation with her, was very heavy to bear anymore. And she finds as if this relationship is sitting like a heavy burden onto her hand, and she finds herself unable to carry this relationship, very difficult to proceed further with the relation of the uncle. So, what does it mean when she writes the massive weight of uncle's wedding band? Children, this expression is symbolic of male authority and power. Matrimony seems to bind the woman physically as well as mentally. The wedding band was a burden for her as she was not getting enough freedom to express herself because of the domestic responsibilities and restrictions put on her as a woman by her husband. Now, we are proceeding towards the third extract of the poem that begins with the lines, "When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with the ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid." In these 4 lines, the poet Adrienne Rich talks about the Aunt Jennifer's death. She finds that this stanza, she starts on a creepy note about her death. Even her death would not free her from the ordeals she was through, which she can be seen in When Aunt is Dead. Her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. But her artwork, which she was, her escape route or in the way, her inner sense of freedom will stay forever proud and unafraid. So what does she tell us in the lines? That even after death, aunt created her fear of her domineering husband, as she would yet bear the burden of the wedding band on her finger. The ordeals faced by her in an oppressive marriage would continue to terrify even after her death. Children, we must know what is the meaning of ordeals here. Aunt Jennifer has been living her life in accordance with the rules laid down by her husband. Her life lacks expression and is overburdened by the demands and duties of her married life. Although old and weak, she still has to face her husband's oppression. These are the ordeals that the poet is talking about in the poem. And then the poet uses the word ringed also. So the use of this word ringed in the poem is significant and appropriate because it correctly represents the vicious cycle created by the norms of society, from which Aunt Jennifer is unable to free herself. The word ringed not only indicates that she is wearing her wedding ring, but also that she is bound with the responsibilities, fear, and oppression of her marriage for entire life and probably after it too. So this ringed word is used to express that even after her death, she would not be able to free herself from the fear of her husband. And in the last two lines, the poet writes, the tigers in the panel that she made. As in the beginning I told you that she is embroidering, she is knitting the tigers onto a panel. So the poet writes, the tiger in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Here the poet tells us that the tigers which she has created into the panel will never be affected. They will go on prancing, they will go on feeling proud, and they will remain always unafraid. Why do you think that she created the tigers which are quite different from her own character? Children, the timid and fearful Aunt Jennifer created an alternative world of free and fearless tigers to express that she also had a desire for freedom, a medium of escape from her grim marriage. So she created the tigers which are unafraid, proud, and will go on prancing in order to express her inner feelings that being a human, she also wanted to live a free life that she had never enjoyed throughout her married life. Therefore, the poet has written in the last two lines that the tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So children, here the poem is completed and I have given you the complete explanation of the poem. I hope that you people would have understood it. Now I will tell you the literary devices used by the poet in stanza 2 and stanza 3. In stanza 2, it is alliteration used by the poet when you see fingers fluttering. F sound is repeated. So here it is alliteration. Similarly, in prancing proud, there is alliteration. Chivalric certainty, there is alliteration. And then we talk about the metaphor used in third stanza, that is ringed with ordeals. Even death would not fall her, so it is also a symbol of oppression. Therefore, there is comparison without using as or like, so it is ringed with ordeals, metaphor used by the poet. So, I hope you would have understood the poem, and now we will proceed towards the homework. Children, as you have seen, this is not a very big poem. It has total 3 stanzas only, and I want you people to summarize all these 3 stanzas in your fair English notebook on the basis of understanding the poem. By the time, thank you.